project cost estimates. As we have established so far, an estimate may simply be defined as the prediction of a quantitative result, generally in the cost sense. A project cost estimate is a quantitative assessment of the cost of all resources required to complete part or all of a project, arrived at by a variety of estimating means and techniques. Includes consideration of probability and educated guesses. Once we have established the estimate, regardless of the method chosen, we then need to look at establishing project budgets. A project budget is the amount and distribution of money allocated to a project for the duration of a particular phase or phases. A project budget is special as it is required for controlling project costs. It represents the approved reference baseline. Must be structured in the same way as costs will be collected to facilitate the all-important control comparison. For example, an estimate unit rate may include labour and materials, while the costs of each will be collected or billed separately. Establishing work breakdown structures. In order to establish a project budget, the first thing that is needed is an understanding of how the project will be executed and resources used. This, together with an initial project estimate, enables a better project budget framework to be developed, allowing for the distribution of funds to different activities and an understanding of the costs will be incurred through time. Projects can be viewed as a series of sub-projects. The work breakdown structure is a hierarchical structure of projects, sub-projects, or work packages. Lowest level should also be individual deliverables. The example of the Crisp Street unit development shows a sample work breakdown structure. The project is the development of 4 units. The next layer is the ground elements of the underground work, first fit of reticulation, and complete fit, then the smallest items completed below each tree branch. It is important when establishing a work breakdown structure to ensure that all work breakdown structures include reference to all activities required to complete the project, that the work breakdown structure does not create any unnecessary duplicate activities at any level, that the work breakdown structure only includes a breakdown of what is delivered to the client, not necessarily every activity being undertaken. Establishing cost budgets. A properly prepared project budget will include a description of the project or phase scope, summarize an introduction, the philosophy, assumptions and parameters used in its preparation, including the procurement strategy. Be presented in exactly the same way as costs are expected to be recorded. First by major deliverable, system or component, then by internal payroll costs, material and equipment, or by contractor, supplier or department. A good budget breakdown will keep management overheads, indirect on costs, quality assurance or control, insurance and interest charges and allowances, etc., all as separate line items, and group all items according to the project's procurement strategy, or regroup if it is changed. The project budget steps include Review the initial project estimate. During the development of any project, cost budgets should be constantly reviewed and updated. The type of review required depends upon the stage of development of a project. In initial phases, as improved or more detailed information becomes available, it is important to consider and revisit estimated quantities, labour rates, and the size of contingencies for accuracy and inclusion of additional information. Allocate budget to various activities or direct costs. Each element of the work breakdown structure needs to have a budget allocated to it, reflecting both the material and labour costs directly attributed to it. It is ideal to break down the budget into units that costs will be incurred in. For example, whilst an estimate may have a total cost for a concrete slab per square metre, a budget needs to include the cost of supply to concrete in metres cubed, the supply of steel reinforcing in tonnes, and a separate item for the direct labour to finish the job. To sum up direct costs in work breakdown structures. Add up all activity costs, plant, labour, materials for total for each activity. Add up all activity totals for total in each work area. Add up each work area for total in work breakdown structure or whole project. Allocate budget to indirect costs. Budget also needs to be allocated to all indirect costs associated with the completion of the overall project. Some may be fixed items for the whole project, such as the cost of insurance, whilst others may be included as costs over time, such as the wages cost of a foreman as a cost per day or week. Contingencies can be allocated to any level of the work breakdown structure, dependent on the size and complexity of the project. Overhead costs do not contribute to a specific activity in a project. Overhead costs might include setting up site offices, creating temporary roads, salaries of project management, engineers, foremen, vehicles for site use, utilities, phone, gas, electricity or water. There are two types of overheads. One-off overheads, site offices, sheds, safety gear. Recurring overheads, based on time on site, staff weekly salaries, telephone rentals. Commercial estimating, scheduling and project management packages can be purchased to assist in this process. But it is important, regardless of whether using these packages or using spreadsheets or databases, that you firstly, set up how you intend to undertake the works and have a system that is compatible with this setup. Understand how information is to be collected and ensure the budgets are set up in this manner originally, so progress can be compared against. Ensure the system and tracking is easily performed and not too time-consuming for project personnel. Understand the way in which you review the progress and how this is to be reported to either management or the client.